climbing back upon Mount Soapbox for another rant. And if you have a rant suggestion that I've yet to do, or do you feel I should do a sequel to, like in this case, first check the playlists, but then feel free to send your rants my way via the comment section, Twitter, Facebook, our Discord, all the links to the GeauxBurns Nation below in the description section. So this rant is by request from yesterday's live stream. I was basically at the 11th hour. I had no idea what we were going to rant about today. And I opened the floor, and a whole bunch of people had some ideas, but the majority idea seemed to be centered around a sequel to the rant I did a while back called Drip Feed Rant. So this is the sequel. Drip Feed Rant 2018. And as you know, last Tuesday we finally got a new update, After Hours. And this is basically what came with After Hours Day 1. There's a lot of drip feed stuff that we will be going over, thanks to Foxy Snaps, by the way. His Twitter account linked below in the description section. So Day 1, we got the nightclub. We got one DJ, Solomon, 7 vehicles, about 250 clothing items, all of them basically reskins, including hockey masks. We got the business battles, which are actually a lot of fun in free mode. Plus, it's a way to help your business in the nightclub, the warehouse business underneath the nightclub, deep below the dance floor. And no new weapons except for the hatchet, which is coming as the next treasure hunt in the game. I don't know when that's coming out. Hopefully sooner rather than later. We didn't get any hairstyles, beards, tattoos. So a lot of stuff was left locked to be drip fed out at a later time. Whether something comes out this Tuesday. Well, we know that there is someone coming out this Tuesday. Well, one of the acts, Telebus, is coming out Tuesday. So technically, the DJs are also drip fed, right? Because you have Telebus, they're coming out this Tuesday. And then the following week, we got Dixon. And then on the 14th of August, we got the Black Madonna. So even the DJs themselves are now victims of the Dripocalypse, unfortunately. So thanks to Foxy Snaps, you compiled all this information we're going to use to go over with the vehicles. First off, the vehicles that will be coming eventually in the game. Now, I understand why Rockstar does this is because in order to put a DLC out on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, A, it costs a lot of money. B, there's a certification process that developers have to go through in order to get the update released. So this saves Rockstar money by bundling all the drip-fed content that they're going to put out weeks and months later along with the Day 1 stuff. So it does make sense. And it does keep the game interesting. But there are content in this update that really feels like they're going to be their own little separate updates, mini updates. And then there's other stuff we're going to go over that you're going to be wondering, Rockstar, do we really need another one of those in the game? Really? And there's some good stuff as well. All right, let's start off with what's happening over on Legendary Motorsports. We got 2 vehicles eventually coming. Chances are the very first vehicle is going to be the Elegant in a Stafford for $1.2 million. That could come as early as Tuesday, maybe a few weeks from now, but if you go by the lineup, it's going to be one of the first vehicles that gets drip fed. The next vehicle over on Legendary is one of those vehicles where you're thinking, why do we need this? The Free Crawler. Nearly $600,000 for this really weird looking SUV. And we already have plenty of really good SUVs in the game. And, I mean, this is probably going to be an off-road vehicle. It looks like an off-road SUV, so it might be in the off-road category. But knowing Rockstar, it could be over in the freaking utility category for all we know. Who knows with Rockstar, right? The Free Crawler is probably another vehicle I'll have to rant on in a few months from now. Really looking forward to that, by the way. Now let's move over to Warstock. Now, this is a plane a lot of us have been wanting in the game. The Strike Force, a.k.a. the A-10 Warthog. It has a different tail. That's probably my complaint about this thing, but Rockstar does have a habit of taking several real-life vehicles and aircraft and mixing them and matching them into their own unique variation. So that's what they did here with the B-11 Strike Force. I'm excited about it because I like planes, and it is a very beautiful, menacing warplane, great for air-to-ground combat. So that's going to be really cool. Next is the Oppressor Mark II, a.k.a. the Depressor 2. As if the first Oppressor wasn't a gem for griefers and tryhards out there, This is going to take it to a whole new level of griefing. Now, it's bad enough you're going to have this by itself at between 2.9 and $3.8 million. You're actually going to have to purchase something else to go with it, that being the terabyte for, at the very least, $1.4 million. By the way, these prices are all fluctuating based on whether or not you've done enough missions or sales, and based on all the mods and customization you're going to have to throw into these vehicles as well. Now, the Terabyte is a very interesting truck. It is a brand new, I guess, MOC, if you will. You're going to have Paige as your contact. I'm okay with that, by the way. And there's going to be some missions that come with it, Terabyte missions, client jobs. So that's going to be probably its own DLC they're going to put out in a few weeks or months from now, combining the Terabyte with the Oppressor Mark II, because the only way you can update and upgrade the Oppressor Mark II and customize it is with the Terabyte. So you'll need that for that. So it's kind of a paywall, kind of, sort of. If you really want the Mark II Oppressor, you got to get the Terabyte as well. But the Terabyte also comes with cool stuff, drones, and it's really cool missile system that allows you to lock onto 5 targets at once. It's definitely very interesting, but it's going to probably be very expensive as well. Now I move over to a fun car. It's going to be expensive as fuck, though. Scramjet, a.k.a. Street Racer, $3.4 to $4.6 million. This thing is like a Ruiner and the Vigilante combined. It has the ability to jump, it shoots rockets, machine guns, and it also has a turbo boost on it. So it's like the Vigilante and the Ruiner 2000 got together. They got it on. And here comes the Scramjet, baby, which could be a lot of fun. And it could also be used for griefing as well. But probably not to the degree that the Oppressor Mark II is going to be used. Now, this final vehicle I'd like to mention over at Warstock is one I feel like we really don't need, because we already have similar vehicles like this. For example, the Insurgent pickup comes to mind. The Menacer. What is this thing? $1.75 million for this. Is it a Night Shark? Is it an Insurgent pickup, like, got together and made this creation? Don't we have enough vehicles with guns on it already? I mean, I personally would have preferred from this update more like nightclub themed vehicles, like cars from the 70s or 80s or 60s or 90s that we have yet to see added to the game. But unfortunately, those are not the big money makers, even though those would be more in line with an after hours update, because it's all about the nightclubs. It's all about the nightlife, which is another reason why I'm kind of ticked off with this update. The fact that the clothing, for the most part, has nothing to do with these types of errors that would have made sense. You know, having like a Studio 54 vibe to it. These are more weaponized toys coming in the next few weeks and months, being drip fed. Some of them I'll probably enjoy, guilty enough as it is, I will. But at the same time, tools to make Grand Theft Auto Online even more of a war zone than it already is. I think a lot of us were kind of hoping that After Hours was going to be a 180 from last year's updates. Gun running, along with Smuggler's Run, Doomsday, all of which heavily military themed. I was accepting that there was going to be 1 or 2 militarized vehicles most likely coming with this update. No shock. But day 1 we got that in several of the vehicles. The Speedo Custom, Mule Custom, as well as the Pounder Custom, all militarized. It just would have been really cool, Rockstar, if you had just given us some more normal cars, unique vehicles that we have yet to have added from the game. From, I don't know, previous Grand Theft Autos, like there's a few from Grand Theft Auto 4 and some from Grand Theft Auto 3D. That would have been perfect for this update. Similar to the Stafford. I like the look of the Stafford. It's old school. It has a 1930s vibe to it. It feels like something Winston Churchill would ride around in. That's what I wanted to see more of when it came to the drip-fed content post After Hours than all these weaponized vehicles. Now, there is one final vehicle that is coming eventually, the Blimp. Now, you can use the Blimp in one of the promotions that randomly spawn whenever you're doing promotion missions for your nightclub. So you'll be able to get your Blimp. It's going to be between $800,000 and $95,000 or up to $1.2 million. You will have a few livery options to choose from, 8. And that excludes the Grand Theft Auto 5 liveries for the Blimp, like the Atomic livery as well as the Zero Gas livery. I'm surprised that Rockstar didn't include those as well, since they already are on the Blimp to begin with. Now, the bottom option, I was kind of worried about it at first, but then it was explained that it's going to be based on what your nightclub happens to be. So if you have Tony's Funhouse as your nightclub, that will be the bottom livery. If you have Galaxy or Omega or Studio Los Santos, the same thing applies. So it's not just going to be one livery, Tony's Funhouse. It'll be simply based on which livery you happen to own. But the problem with this Blimp is two things. One is the fact that it's going to be up to $1.2 million. It's going to be slow, kind of boring. I think there's going to be speakers on the back similar to the Solomon Blimp in the promotion. I don't think it's going to be as buffed as the Solomon Blimp. In other words, it'll be easily destroyed. So this is going to be a novelty item, very similar to the Festa Bus. Something a lot of us kind of want is the Blimp. We've been wanting it for a while now, but I don't know if we're willing to shell out, $1.2 million. Well, I'll have no choice because I'm going to have to show it off, but I think the majority of the gamers out there in the community would prefer saving their money. And I imagine for like the first few days when this comes out, yeah, you're going to see Blimps all over Los Santos, which will be a sight to be seen until some try-hard griefer comes along and starts blowing them up left and right. Now, sadly, these are not the only vehicles that are getting price tags. Some of the older ones are as well. And this is what really doesn't make any sense, and it seems like Rockstar is going to be billing these as drip-fed vehicles as well. The Karen Futo, the original Ruiner, the Prairie, the BJXL, the FQ2, the Serrano, the Habanero, the Romero Hearse, the Patriot, not the Stretch Patriot, the normal Patriot. Some of these are actually going to get new liveries for them. I think the Futo, the Ruiner are as well, and a couple others too. But here's the thing. All these vehicles you can get right now in the game for free. All you got to do is go look for them. I know that takes a lot of time and effort. Sometimes they spawn, sometimes they don't. But if you really, deep down inside, want to get your very own Futo or Ruiner, guess what? They do spawn in the game eventually. You can get one without spending $9,000 or $10,000. I realize the prices are low, but it's just one more thing they're adding to Southern San Andreas Super Autos that we don't need. There's already a ton of other vehicles on that list besides these. And a lot of people who don't know any better are going to be thinking that maybe these are new cars and they're just a great deal. Well, there's an even better deal for the Patriot, the Hearse, the FQ2, the Serrano, Habanero, BJXL, Prairie, Ruiner, Futo. You know what that price tag is? $0. All you got to do is steal them and park them in your garage. Then go to Los Santos Customs and put insurance on them. It's yours. There you go. Now, the hearse is different because you have to kind of get someone else that has a hearse in order for it to spawn. But most people probably have a hearse already. And if you really want one, just ask one of your friends or one of your crewmates. Say, hey, does any of you have a Romero hearse? I don't feel like spending $45,000. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to help you get your own complimentary Romero hearse. Now, in case you're wondering, if we add all the quote-unquote new vehicles up, going by, I guess, various price tags, this is what the total is going to be. All right, let's go with $3.8 million for the Strike Force, $3.8 million for the Mark II Oppressor, Scramjet $4.6 million, Minister $1.7 million, Stafford $1.2 million, Free Crawler $600,000, the Terabyte $1.4 million, the Blimp $1.2 million. All right, so we add all those numbers up. It's at least, at the very minimum, going to cost us $18 million, and it's probably going to go past $20 million because a lot of these are going to come with upgrades. They're going to have upgrades, customization costs, so they're not going to be very cheap, and so that's an additional $20 million plus that the community is going to have to dole out for this content. The good news is it's not all coming out at once, which would be a major punch in the gut for us, but at the same time, like I said, I would have preferred the drip fed going forward into Red Dead Redemption 2 to have more of an after-hours theme to it, as opposed to more of the same. Militarized vehicles that we already have plenty of.